Today we are going to tell you about koalas.
The koala is an arboreal herbivorous marsupial native to Australia. It is the only extinct representative of the family Phascolarctic.
The koala has a body length of 24 to 33 inches and weighs 9 to 33 pounds.
Koalas are asocial animals and spend just 15 minutes a day on social behaviors. In Victoria, home ranges are small and have extensive overlap, while in central Queensland they are larger and overlap less. Koala society appears to consist of residents and transients, the former being mostly adult females and the later males. Resident males appear to be territorial and dominate others with the larger body size. Alpha males tend to establish their territories close to breeding females, while younger males are subordinates until they mature and reach full size. Adult males occasionally venture outside their home ranges. When they do so, dominant ones retain their status.
Because they get so little energy from their diet, koalas must limit their energy use and sleep 20 hours a day. Only 4 hours a day are spent in active movement. They are predominantly active at night and spend most of their waking hours feeding. They typically eat and sleep in the same tree, possibly for as long as a day. On very hot days, the koala may climb down to the coolest part of the tree, which is cooler than the surrounding air. The koala hugs the tree to lose heat without panting. During cold, wet periods, it curls itself into a tight ball to conserve energy. On windy days, the koala finds a lower, thicker branch on which to rest. While it spends most of the time in the tree, the animal descends to the ground to move to another tree, walking on all fours.
Koalas are seasonal breeders, and births take place from the middle of spring through the summer to early autumn. From October to May, females in Adventurous tend to hold their heads farther back than usual and commonly display tremors and spasms. However, males do not appear to recognize these signs and have been observed to mount non-Adventurous females. Because of his much larger size, a male can usually force himself on a female, mounting her from behind, and in extreme cases, the male may pull the female out of the tree. A female may scream and viciously fight off her suitors, but will submit to one that is dominant or is more familiar. The bellows and screams that accompany matings can attract other males to the scene, prompting the incumbent to delay mating and fight off the intruders. These fights may allow the female to assess which is dominant. The koala's gestation period lasts 33 to 35 days, and the female gives birth to a single joy, although twins occur on occasion, as with all marsupials. The young are born while at the embryonic stage, weighing only 0.02 ounces. However, they have relatively well-developed lips, forelimbs, and shoulders, as well as functioning respiratory, digestive, and urinary systems. The joy goes into its mother's pouch to continue the rest of its development. Unlike most other marsupials, the koala does not clean her pouch. Koalas may live from 13 to 18 years in the wild. While female koalas usually live this long, males may die sooner because of their more hazardous lives. Koalas usually survive falls from trees and immediately climb back up, but injuries and deaths from falls do occur, particularly in experienced young and fighting males. Around 6 years of age, the koala's chewing teeth begin to wear down and the chewing efficiency decreases. Eventually, the cusps disappear completely and the animal will die of starvation. Koalas eat many eucalyptus leaves. Occasionally, they will eat the leaves from some other native Australian trees, and they also use certain trees just for resting in. Koalas live in tall, open eucalyptus forests. The areas of bushland where they like to live are called their habitats. Koalas can only live in bushland where their favorite trees are growing, and they will only eat a few of the hundreds of species of eucalyptus which grow in Australia.
Unlike most mammals, the koala has an unusually long cecum and the intestines to detoxify the leaves from their poison and special cheek teeth that grind the leaves to a fine paste for the digestion by microbes. While they can feed on the leaves of other trees, koalas cannot eat more than 3 pounds of fresh leaves each day or they will get indigestion. Koala's fur is different in different parts of Australia. In the southern parts of Australia, it is longer and shaggier than in the north in order to keep them warm in the cold southern winters. A mature male has a dark scent gland in the center of his right chest which exudes a dark sticky substance. He rubs this on his cheek to indicate to other koalas that this is his territory.
While the koala was previously classified at least concern on the red list, it was uplisted to vulnerable in 2016. Australian policymakers declined a 2009 proposal to include the koala in the Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act 1999. In 2012, the Australian government listed koala populations in Queensland and New South Wales as vulnerable because of the 40% population decline in the former and the 33% decline in the later. Populations in Victoria and South Australia appears to be abundant. However, the Australian Koala Foundation argues that the exclusion of Victorian populations from protective measures is based on misconception that the total koala population is 200,000, whereas they believe it is probably less than 100,000. One of the biggest anthropogenic threats to koala is habitat destruction and fragmentation. In coastal areas, the main cause of this is urbanization, while in rural areas, habitat is cleared for agriculture. Native forest trees are also taken down to be made into wood products. In 2000, Australia ranked 5th in the world by deforestation rates, having cleared 1,396,000 acres. The distribution of koala has shrunk by more than 50% since European arrival, largely due to the fragmentation of habitat in Queensland. The koala vulnerable status in Queensland and New South Wales means that developers in these states must consider the impacts on this species when making building applications. In addition, koalas live in many protected areas.
Injured koalas are often taken to wildlife hospitals and rehabilitation centers. In a 30-year retrospective study performed in the New South Wales Koala Rehabilitation Center, trauma, usually resulting from a motor vehicle accident or dog attack, was found to be the most frequent case of admission, followed by symptoms of chlamydia infection. Wildlife caretakers are issued special permits but must release the animals back into the wild when they are either well enough or, in the case of joeys, old enough, as with most native animals. The koala cannot legally be kept as a pet in Australia or anywhere else.
Koalas are not birds. They are not placental mammals.
Thank you for watching this Adventurous Kids episode.